It's our final big story for today. It's a continuation of our conversation earlier from the 9 o'clock hour regarding New Central's town hall that was held in Kano, speaking to the victims and those who survived the Trovan trial drug by Pfizer during the meningitis outbreak in 1996. Following the compensation, the families claimed that they did not receive all of the compensation of $175,000 that was mandated to be paid to them by Pfizer. And so to continue the discussion today, we're joined by Nafisatu Kabir. She is the former Commissioner of Health, Kano State, and she joins us live via video all the way from Kano. And right here in the studio as well is our very own Marshall Ononye. He's an investigative journalist here with New Central Television, and he was the one who uncovered the victims, went on to the story and found the victims of this gruesome incident. I don't know the best words to describe it, the right adjective, but Marshall is here, and their lives are now in balance. Their lives have changed forever. Marshall, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you.
And well done, well done. You were also there during the town hall meeting. We're going to come to you, but first, let's start, ladies first, as always. Mrs. Kabir, I must say thank you so much for taking out the time to join us this morning, and good morning to you. Let me start by asking, with the town hall meeting and listening to the stories of the victims and just how they have not been compensated and leaving 28 years after the effects and the consequences of a trial drug. What is the Kano State government taking from all of this?
Thank you very much. You're welcome. Now, presently, I don't know the situation pertaining these people, because it is handled by the state government and an organization they formed within themselves. So I am not very much aware of what is happening, but I can only talk about when this thing happened. So aftermath, I am not sure I can say anything.
All right.
May I then ask, Madam, regarding when this whole thing happened and while you were serving as the Commissioner for Information, what kind of relationship did the Kano State government have with the victims? Because the stories that they tell is one of neglect and falsehood from the state government. Exactly, well, to be specific regarding the amounts that were paid to them and subtractions that were made for most of them not even getting up to a quarter of these sums. Who brokered these deals, and why are we hearing these stories from the victims from all those years back?
Thank you very much. Well, during the epidemic's time, we did all we could to control the spread of the disease. But what happened afterwards, we may not know, because I left that place after 1.5 years. So I cannot say much about that. But really, during that time, we had so many problems, but we were able to control the problems because the state government did all it could. The local government chairman, the traditional, the emirs, and the federal government at the highest level. Now, we invited some NGOs because we were not able to manage everything ourselves. So we tried to open up, and they came in to assist. That is how, in fact, these victims fell into what they are now.
That's very interesting.
Let's come back to the studio and talk to Marshall. Marshall, you were the one who uncovered the victims. You went on to Kano, you met with the victims, and you saw their lives, and we saw it important that we, give them a platform to share that story. What motivated you to dig deeper into, the plight of the victims?
Well, thank you very much, Judith. We've got several investigations on Kitty, and it wouldn't be like a motivation. We're always motivated to dig deeper into several of these cases. But I would say along the way, yes, we would gather momentum and gather more motivation to go by the time you get to find certain informations just at the beginning. At the first instance on arrival in Kano, for starters, I mean, you've got the story, it's everywhere. And when you read, you want to find out what went wrong. these persons, we hear a pocket of complaints about not getting their compensation, not getting the right amount, and then you want to find out, were they circumvented in one way or the other? Who were the persons that were given this money? Were they given the monies directly? And is Pfizer telling the truth about what it said it was going to give? These are just very few indices that would propel us to, go into an investigation to find out the truth. And then when you get in, you begin to find out other truths as well. Upon arrival in Kano State, we had uncovered 5 of those people, 3 of whom had said they had gotten some form of compensation. We try to say, when we ask them, were you among those that got compensated? They'll say, no, we're among those that got tipped. And as I've had a few of them tell me to say, don't say compensation again, because that wasn't a compensation, we were only tipped. They said it in Hausa. So you'd find, again, the state of health of these people, quite deplorable. I mean, at the time when the epidemic happened, they were just babies, and then their deformities had just began to creep in. And now that they are fully grown adults, you can now see the level of the extent of their deformities, and it will really want to, motivate you to do more for them.
Right. Now, we've heard from Mrs. Kabir and, her response regarding, the state government. I want you to take off your hat as a journalist, investigative journalist, and put on your hat as a concerned citizen who was at the town hall meeting. Her response with the state government, is that enough?
Well, you see, her office was a political office. I mean, at the time, I can quite relate with an epidemic, and the quest for the government to look for solution and bring solution to these persons. But I would not understand how they wouldn't ensure that certain measures are in place to see that the right thing is done. For instance, was there a certificate for the approval for this medication from its port of origin, or the place where it originated from, the United States? We would have expected that certain checks would have been done regarding the persons that were coming to administer this medication, and then the medication itself. They would have had a medical team that would have vetted these persons and their procedure. At the time, we had Medicine Sans Frontiers, Doctors Without Borders, also administering medication for meningitis, which was the outbreak at that time. And guess what? None of these, or they might have had few cases, but they didn't have the kind of case that the Pfizer, those that took the Pfizer medication had. The Doctors Without Borders all turned out fine. The patients all turned out fine. They had them at another building just within the same vicinity, administering this medication to children.
That's very sad for the parents, because noting that it came down to choice for you to choose which hospital to go to, and that's what has altered the lives of your
Same
kids.
hospital, just different blocks.
Just different blocks. I mean, that I can imagine the impact on the parents. But then, let me talk to the former Commissioner for Information regarding, you said something regarding the fact that the Kano State government at the time had called out to NGOs to come help with the state of the epidemic that was going on, the meningitis epidemic. My question is this, and it goes, Marshall is here in the studio. I'd like him to also give his own answer. How culpable is the Kano State government when it comes to this? Because they actually reached out to these NGOs and these pharmaceutical companies, and now this has happened. So when it comes to compensation or a responsibility, how responsible are they for the outcome of the lives of these victims? Madam.
Well, thank you very much. The federal government has a department in the ministry, in the health ministry, called Epidemic Control Department. They are the people responsible for the registration of these NGOs that come through, that come to Nigeria to assist, or Kano State to assist. Then back to Kano. When they come to Kano, there's also a team that is supposed to supervise them, the drugs they brought, and everything before they are allowed to be used in our hospitals. So now it is not just coming in to assist, like you have said, that they are just coming in. They have been registered and they have been supervised and they have been allowed before everything happened. So now I think the victims too, through their association, I could remember I had something like that because I was not aware when the association was formed, when the team was formed, and they said that they are supposed to see, they wanted to see the registration of these NGOs, and they were given all details from the Ministry of Health. I was not the commissioner then, it was another person.
Okay.
So now this is only what I can say.
Okay, Madam, that would be good. That's enough. Thank you very much.
And Marshall, just to wrap up this our conversation,